Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Durell Cooper, and we're back with another special episode of this podcast for the DC Collaborative. I'm so excited today to be joined by Kalea Selmon, one of the incredible co-founders and consultants working with the Wells Collective. Kalea, thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, so glad. Woohoo. Yeah, we in the building.
So Kalia, for those who may not be as familiar with you and your work, could you share a little bit about your background and experience?
Yeah, sure. So I am born and raised in the DMV. Grew up in and outside of schools, in DC proper and in PG County. And it's interesting. I really come to this work by way of my father, which I don't like to lead to, with him and my connection to him, through my arts work, but that's really where it comes from. So my father was a longtime professor at Howard University, um, and was the chair of theater arts, the theater arts department there, and really, I think, was a bridge for me about the magic of the arts and storytelling and the capacity to express the human condition and then ultimately use that, as a starting place to change the world. And so I'm very grateful, that I grew up consistently, with this exposure to the arts and to the arts as transformation. And of course, by his relationship and working relationship to Howard, that ultimately led me to attend university there. And that just continued to serve as, excuse me, y'all, also recovering from flu. It's wild out here. But served as a launching, pad, for me to engage in social justice work and, education work and transformation work. And it's been going ever since, from running community programs and a little bit of community organizing and working in schools and now consulting with the Wealth Collective.
About your work in the education space. I know from my conversation with Jennifer, that's something that all of the members of the Wells Collective really sort of share that background as, working within the educational space. How does that inform your work now with the Wells Collective?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I kind of knew very early on. So like teenagers specifically, like 16 or 17-year-olds are my favorite people in the world. Like there's just this magical way about the way that they begin to think about life and the world, that is unique to any other age group. But for me, it really started, post undergrad with my work actually helping to co-run, the theater internship program at the ARC, the ICANN Technical Theater Internship, and really just seeing the way in which education, has the power has the ability, I should say, to give people power, and access and, transform lives. And for me, my background in education is in counseling. That's what my master's is in. I never wanted to be so much of a classroom teacher as much as, have the opportunity to like do life with my students and teach life to my students. That's what I used to always say. Like, I'm not your history teacher, but in my office, we get to talk about and do life. Um, and so that was my, launching pad from doing theater education to, doing counseling, and did a quick stint through PGCPS, and worked a lot in independent schools. And then through my time in independent schools, really seeing the need for there to be, a focus and a double down on diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And, the paths just aligned and opened up in that space. And yeah, that's absolutely the story, and the gift that is the Wealth Collective. We were all diversity practitioners in independent schools and going to conferences and, really just seeing the lack of emphasis placed on the voices of Black women who, and in all the schools we had worked in, like the majority of people holding it down as it related to the DEI work or just like advocating, on behalf of that work, even if there wasn't a named position, were Black women. And so we kind of sought to better the experiences of others through our work. By others, I mean specifically Black women, but by extension, everyone else. Because if you make it better for one, it's going to be better for everybody. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. Along with like a few other like boards, one of the boards that I serve on is the New York Transgender Advocacy Group, which was
Okay.
started by a Black trans woman, to Kiera St. James.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing that I always say is until Black trans women living at or below the poverty level get free, ain't none of
Okay.
us free.
I
Ain't
know
none
that's
of us free. And you know, so she constantly challenges me to be in right relationship with that. So, you know, thank you so much for sharing that because I think that's very true. And, just sort of getting, I guess, more into the origin story of the Wells Collective. Jennifer
right.
shared a good bit about like, you know, how the group initially came together over like these brunch meetings.
Absolutely.
You know, which is such an incredible way when you think about community and connection and what that really could
Kept us
lead
from
to.
quitting. It kept us from quitting our jobs. Like in the
Let's
beginning,
go.
we could have a whole nother, I was like, I don't know that this is the place because, DC Collaborative, but we could have a whole nother conversation about Black women in education, Black women in independent education. Um, and in the beginning, like we were literally, we were literally each other's lifelines. Like those were the women that kept me for a long time. I was the fourth Black woman to work in my school. Um, and, since my time there and tenure there, of course we, have reached double digits, but I was the fourth Black woman to work in my school. And so and for a long time I was the only. And so to navigate the experiences that I was having, I needed somebody to like reflect back to me. And yeah, those women kept me in it. They were definitely my lifeline. And then, now my business partners, but more importantly, my sisters. And, I was gonna say we could have a whole nother conversation about that. And we do literally, in true Black woman fashion, and it's such a blessing. Like we do life together. Like I'm throwing Akayla's baby shower this weekend in Charleston. So you know what I mean? Like here we are. It is more than just the work for sure.
Oof. No, thank you. Thank you so much for that. It's, you know, just hearing that is very inspiring. And, you know, I would hope that like someone else hearing this would go, oh, wait, so just out of like this sisterhood came all of these other opportunities from connecting casually to now business opportunities. And so I think this story is a very beautiful and inspiring one. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective on it and letting us know what it means to you.
Yeah, and
Um,
I would just add one more thing. I think as it relates to just equity work in general, outside of our work at the Wealth Collective, but the larger body of work, which is often I think we look so much at like, or folks look to like, I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna hire this consultant and they're gonna come in and they're gonna fix everything. But they don't really want to adjust away from like the individual perspective of the work. And really like continue to think like, oh, there's just this magical solution. And so much of it is rooted in collectivism. It's rooted in community. It's rooted in, how we grow together as a whole. And so it's like, if that's something I would suggest to everybody is like, how do you find your folks and do it together? And most examples of justice that we see, right? It's never just one person. It's always a village. It's always a community. So we got to think in that way, growing and winning together as well.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thing that we're seeing right now, uh, is a really big pushback against DEIA initiatives,
Well,
not just in education, but also in, government, also in nonprofits.
it's very funny that you say that. Um, we were just having a conversation the other day about preparing for um the current social political climate and going into this election cycle. Um and I think for us, just kind of where we landed is like it's always been a priority for us to speak truth. Okay. So that's never, like our foremothers, so much of our name, while it is an acronym because we are teachers, right? Wellness, love, wellness, equity, love, liberation, and sisterhood. It is also a nod to Ida B. Wells, right? Who was an original gatherer of the folks and truth teller. And so that's always going to be a part of our work. But we often have conversations around like how much of our energy needs to be put towards educating folks who have consistently proven to us that they don't want to change, and don't have the stamina for change, as opposed to creating spaces that empower our people to, again, harness their collective power, and move forward. So really kind of having a resurgence and focusing on programming as it relates to Black women, and Black girls and Black youth, and kind of moving forward in the work that way. Because there's only so much toxicity that we can all take in. Like it is harmful. It is hard enough to exist in the body of a BIPOC person, let alone a BIPOC female body. And then like, you know what I mean? Like you can only be taking in so much toxicity. It is bad for our health. And so keeping that in mind, like our energy, why not use the energy that we're going to use? Why not sow into the people that are going to love us back at the same time? So we've been thinking a lot about that. Cause yeah, the systems, the people have shown us they don't, we see it, right? Especially in this decline of the 2020 anti-racism push, right? We all were doing better and wanted to do better, and we were never going to go back. And here we are, like we realize undoing the systems that have benefited you for so long, it was hard, and we don't really have the stamina for it. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to have to come in your kitchen and then teach you how to cook, and then you tell me that I taught you the wrong recipe. Like I'm not doing that in 2024.
Right. I feel you. I love that. That analogy too. It's like the Wells Collective is bringing in, a certain set of clients. How does, the organization approach a partnership like, say, this one with DC Collaborative?
It's about relationships, I think, with most things, right? Because no matter what is happening with the clients, whether it's like a series of education, right, or a series of like education moments, PD moments, like we are educators, so that is like our bread and butter. We do that very well. We are all, I often say like we should really stop what we are doing and just teach people how to facilitate, but because people don't know. But for us it really is about relationships, right? Because even when we are engaged in work with clients who want to do like culture shifts in their organizations, et cetera, equity audits, whatever, like, you don't get to like show up and say the hard things and name the pain points, with people that you don't have relationship with. Additionally, I mean, I think it is just like we try to be very intentional about finding out what the needs are and making sure that we have the one capacity, but the skill capacity, I think, to address those things appropriately. Like if we don't, we're happy to be like, hey, here's some other people that we know who can do that for you, because it's not us. The beauty, I think, of our team, especially, so first of all, if you've never met a teacher, please go out and find one, become friends with them, because they do everything and they can change your whole life. But I think that's the skill level, or the thing that makes us successful, is because we have all worked in schools in so many different capacities. It translates so, it translates so well, to the needs of nonprofits, and, also to getting people to take these what are sometimes very complicated and daunting tasks that systems change is, to make it kind of more tangible and accessible for folks.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way of thinking about building partnerships and being in right relationship with your client. what can the DC collaborative community look forward to out of this partnership?
Because anytime we're in the room, we're definitely having big fun. We're gonna bring good tunes, good vibes. We're definitely gonna be learning because there is lots to learn. And one of our norms is definitely to um accept discomfort and lean into to non-closure, meaning like we always run out of time. Like everybody is always like, oh, we have so much time, and we never have enough time. And it is definitely a reflection of the fact that we are going to be having big fun. So come out, show up, ready to learn and ready to build community and to enjoy.
Again, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time.